Hey guys, welcome back. Today I'm just gonna have some random stuff playing in the background, and I just kind of wanted to talk and get something off my chest and kind of just ramble for a bit. Hopefully this won't be too long. A friend of mine is in the process of right now having to deal with one of his family members is not doing too well, and probably isn't going to last too long. And we've tried several times over the past week to try to get together and just, get together for a last hurrah and just have a goodbye, kind of get together. And it's just been complicated over and over again. And anyway, I was gonna get picked up because I've had overnight shifts lately, and I've been up for a while. So I was gonna get picked up when we were gonna go down and talk to the person who is sick, and complications threw themselves up again, and so we couldn't really go and do that. And in the process of waiting for my friend to show up and give me the ride, really cool of him to give me a ride because I was entrusting myself to drive. I sat down and I started watching the Sandra Bullock movie, where she plays herself, because she pretty much always does. But she was really good in it. It's called Our Brand is Crisis, I think that's what it's called. Anyway, she plays a political consultant for a guy running for president in Bolivia, and it's a really good movie. But one part of the movie is she's arguing with the guy because he's not listening. He's trying to do his own thing and trying to be in control like a president, and she's like, "You're not in control. We're all pawns. It's all just sliding downhill, And it really kind of, I don't know, it just kind of hit home because you don't really have any control. We have an illusion of control. And I mean, we have to take responsibility for our own actions. I'm not saying that everything's fated. I'm saying you're offered choices, you're offered a choice. You're walking down a road and then the road splits left or right, and you don't get to choose. You don't get to forge your own path. That's not how life works. I mean, you do to a certain extent, but you're born with a certain amount of intelligence, and through fortune and through your own willpower and through essentially what I'm just going to call just luck, because it's really what it is. It's a bunch of odds. It's just a bunch of dice rolls over and over and over again. You've come up with these skills and ideas and sort of preloaded ways of dealing with situations you might come across. And that'll dictate whether or not you can go left or right, or whether you can just climb over, the wall in front of you and just forge a third path or a fourth path or whatever. And the point is, you make the choice, yes, but life provides those choices to you, And sometimes you don't even get a choice, like living. I don't think you really chose that. At dying, you don't really get to choose. That just happens. It happens. It's not good or bad necessarily. It just happens. And I was watching this movie, and that part came up, and it made me think how out of control we are. How just not in control we are. We're not in control whether or not we live or die, and it does make you want to kind of just go hug the people that you love and tell them that they're important to you, because you don't really know how long you're going to have. But it also makes you want to do other things too. I think it makes me want to kind of close off and find something I do have some control over, like video games or recording. It also makes me maudlin, makes me think about weird stuff, like the fact that really it makes me think about things like stories. The fact that when I was 14 years old and in high school, I was reading this book by this samurai, reading about the samurai code. I'm this fat, fucking 14-year-old high school kid, not his intended audience at all. I mean, think about that. Guy is dead for hundreds of years, and I'm reading his books. I don't know what his intended audience really was, but I know I'm not. I know I wasn't it. I know I'm still not it. And yet, the words I read in that book, which was called Hagakure, those words hit me I mean, they were in English, obviously I could read Japanese. Those words hit me right in my squishy parts. They hit me in my soul, for lack of a better word. They spoke to me in a way that no other book had. They spoke to me of kind of a... Give me a moment. Of the... You know, the impermanence of life and how death is this problem that there is no obvious solution to. For instance, it is a problem. I mean, it's like the old sci-fi films and the old sci-fi books I used to read, they always talk about these obsessive villains trying to get immortality, and that's how they're going to solve the problem of death, is by making it so no one dies, and it always ends up being really bad. And so when I read this book, it was a solution to death. It's the weirdest solution to death. It's embracing it. It's just accepting that you are going to die, and when you do that, you find that it no longer has a hold on your actions. You know, you can make a decision that'll kill you at that point because you've accepted it. The only time it causes confusion is when you are not resolved, when you are not okay with it, you know, when it's not according to your plan. So humans need there to be a plan. You know, we need things to go according to our plan, even if that means that we adapt our plan to be, okay, we'll do the inevitable. I accept it. But it kind of works, you know. If you are stuck in that rut where you look at it and just kind of go, I'm gonna pass. There's nothing I can do about it. You know, you can drive yourself nuts, or you can accept it. And accepting it is a very sane and rational way to go about it. Not to say that, you know, look for death and find it and die. You're not looking, you're not getting a death wish. It's more freeing yourself from the terror of it, from the horror of it. Not ignoring it, just no longer having it drag you down. And the irony of this is that I'm talking about this after reading a book from some guy who was, like I said, you know, 200 or 300 years ago, wrote this book, and then I picked it up as some fat, you know, middle class kid in school. I mean, I was never going to be a samurai. I was never going to be a warrior of any kind. I mean, definitely gotten my share of fights, but I'm not a soldier. I'm nothing like that. I'm a fighter, but not like that. You know, I don't cut people's heads off. I don't have a proper way to do that, and I don't want one. Instead, I'm stuck. You know, I'm stuck here. I'm instead in this spot where I'm thinking about all the times that life has surprised me. You know, surprised me by this kind of thing, because I know that we're all impermanent. I know that a billion years from now, none of us will have existed. There will be no trace of us whatsoever, unless, of course, our species, you know, is able to get off the planet, or we evolve into some other organism, and so we might exist in our ancestors, that kind of thing. But our civilization, there'll be no evidence of it left. A billion years is long enough for everything to be wiped out, like literally. There'll be some molecules left from our nuclear testing. Nuclear. Oh my God, I'm not Bush. Nuclear testing, but other than that, I mean, you know, there's really not going to be anything here. I mean, even Mount Rushmore, that disgrace. It's because they put it on native land. Okay, it was a sacred site, and they did it to say fuck you to the Native Americans. It's a beautiful mountain. It's a beautiful piece of art, but it is very much a troll. Even that will be gone. It'll be gone. A billion years from now, it won't even. No one will have noticed it was here. So knowing that, you'd think that there would be no point. You know, there'd be no surprises even. I mean, it's just a flat, endless landscape that's constantly changing, like rolling hills, or or like blankets, being moved with somebody underneath them. It's just doesn't really matter. It's just a mass of, constant change. So what's the point? But then I think about it, and yeah, man. I mean, I read a book that was essentially 300 years old, translated into my language, and I connected with some guy who's been dead for hundreds of years. And I've done that dozens of times through dozens of pieces of work. And that makes me remember that my grandfather used to tell me stories about his childhood. And I remember some of those, and I'm remembering some of the stories that my friends' family members told me. And you know what? That's all we are, really. We're stories. We express our ideas, we express our feelings, our thoughts. And we hope somebody's listening. We hope somebody's connecting. We know somebody's gonna, everybody knows this. Everybody knows that somebody's gonna disagree with us. Somebody's gonna come and tell us that we're full of shit, that we're worthless. Because you know what? Most of them are right, actually. Because there's that fundamental truth that we are nothing. We are not even here. I mean, we're here, but we're not here. We might as well not be here. But despite that, we keep surprising ourselves and each other. We keep wanting to talk. We keep wanting to say something. We keep wanting people to listen. I think that's why I'm on YouTube. Not because it's like my death note or something like that, but because I have that drive to talk and hope that someone's listening. Just like I think everybody. I mean, take the word talk for whatever you want, really. Act, be, express yourself, whatever, I don't care, but it's the same principle. We get out there, we open our mouths, shit comes out, but also some good stuff. And we hope that somebody hears everything. Mostly we hope people hear the good stuff. Well, my friends listening to this, I heard some of the good stuff. If I don't get to say goodbye before it goes, this is me saying goodbye as best I can. You may not have written a book. You may not have done any Japanese poetry, Bob, but I listened. I hope that was enough. Later, guys.